is genuinely younger now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yes, I
It's
mean,
not younger.
and
You and Karen, on the other hand,
aged savagely. And the tide was coming in. Can you remember? And it it rained. It just rained and rained and rained. Such a great story, though. That's actually one of my favourite.
I love that because my very first rap on my very first day of executing Doctor Who, and he said we'd been taken unawares or unexpectedly by the tide. And you're thinking, isn't that written down somewhere? Haven't we got a record of when the tide comes? I ran off the beach and I cut 4 pages of dialogue, and so it began.
Now, I think that sometimes the filming was disrupted. I don't know if it was this episode, but the filming was disrupted by the weather on several occasions. Rain an enemy of the Doctor.
In Wales, it is.
Yeah. Right.
Now, when you were embarking on this, Jenna, how impossible did Clara seem to you? What discussions did you have about her impossibility?
I had absolutely no idea. I knew all I was doing was playing the individual Claras and the Clara that kind of had just each Clara had met doctors, and all I had to play was modern day contemporary Clara meeting the Doctor and going on that adventure, and he'd make comments, and I think she'd just sometimes think he was a bit strange and not really know what he was talking about, but thought he was quite strange anyway. But when I got that script through, with the beginning sequence of Clara being through all the Doctors going through space and time, I remember I read the first section up to the titles, put it down, I phoned up my mum and I was like, oh my god, it's so cool, it's absolutely amazing sequence. And to film the scenes that we filmed, and Stephen came to set that day, where we recreated Hartnell's and coming up and filming with the double, and then that was kind of a really special day.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that you can revive sort of television history in such a way, and actually give it a real context now. I think that's...
It means you're never really going to leave, doesn't it?
Well, I hope so. We'll be back out in 50 years.
So, Stephen, when unfolding a character like this, is it that, as Jenna says, that you just see it in the script, or do you forewarn your actors of twists and turns to come?
I kind of think the actors should experience the story through the script, and indeed the producership, the directorship. I shouldn't tell them in advance what they're going to see. They should. I should check that, but remember to put it all in there. And the only way to do that is to say you learn it through the script. And I kind of think also the people who are going to be creatively involved in making it, the director, the producer, the cast, all these, the designer, all these people, should have one moment where they read it and not know what's coming, so that they can be in the audience for a moment and know what we're aiming for. The very first director I sort of ever got on with really well, Bob Spears, who used to do press gang many years ago, always said to me, don't tell me anything about a script, because the first time I read the script is the only time I really understand it. So he'd need to read it absolutely fresh, and then he'd know what he was trying to make. He'd be trying to make the audience experience what he just experienced, hopefully better.
And this is what you have to do, Marcus. You also have to decide how these things are going to be realised as well.
Yeah. There's what Stephen wants, and there's what we can give. We just try and close that gap as much as possible.
But Marcus, you've actually always managed everything. Come on, there's hardly anything you haven't.
Well, we've got a fantastic crew who love working on the show and want to do everything they can for it. But I agree with Stephen. I think it's fantastic to read this, because I can't watch new Doctor Who episodes anymore. So reading the script is my last chance to experience them anew again. So I completely agree with what Stephen's saying.
Okay, well, let's take a look now at something that will be new, at least to most of us in this room, certainly to me. It's the trailer for tomorrow night's 50th anniversary special, the day of the Doctor. Stephen, John Hurt as the Doctor. Oh, our jaws dropped when we saw that caption come up.
Yeah, I think that's probably that and springing Paul McGann and everybody in the prequel are probably the things I've thought. I think this has been some of my most fun moments. And I really love the final moments of The Name of the Doctor, which it was a difficult episode to do. Just those, not in the name of the Doctor, and there he is. And he's John Hurt. What a birthday present for the Doctor. He gets to be John Hurt.
Are the rules a bit different when you're writing an anniversary episode? Because all the pieces that have to be put onto the board?
I think the thing you have to keep in mind is that the rules can't be different. It's not a party. It's not just look how clever we are. There is a trap in saying this episode will now celebrate Doctor Who. That's Doctor Who celebrating itself. That's a bit of an ego trip. Having said that, a show with 3 iterations of the same man is possibly would be best titled an ego trip. I should have called it that. Damn. That's good. So you actually have to stick to the fact you have to make a good story. That's really what you're doing. You're trying to make a really good story, and you're trying to push the boat out a bit more. And what that really means is that I give Marcus a much worse time than normal, because really this show isn't, this particular episode, funded that much better than any other one, or scheduled any better. It was tough. And what these guys have managed to bring out of it is extraordinary. Everyone's going to think it's a multi-million-pound blockbuster. It's because this guy's clever. Because this man's clever.
Jenna, was the meeting between companions as momentous as the meeting between doctors? Billy Piper, of course, returns in this episode.
I have been told not to say anything regarding Billy, so that is all going to be a big surprise for you all tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, we all know, we've all seen you together with your previous incarnations. What was the chemistry like between you?
Right, good actually. It's sort of quite interesting. I think our doctors get on well. Wait and see tomorrow night. But I think it's just exciting for the show to have that character confront himself. And ridiculous. There's a ridiculousness in it which will never grow old. There's a version in which you could sort of make the show with another Doctor all the time. I felt that with Peter, having him come in. I was a bit like, I sort of wish I got to do a bit of acting with you. Yeah. But instead, you're taking my face. And making me old.
Does it inevitably feel a bit like that?
No, it doesn't. I think the show is about to embark on a really interesting time. I think, in Peter, you have an actor that's going to throw a heap of new invention onto the part, and I think with the momentum of the 50th anniversary and everything, this show's just going to snowball and continue to sort of be enormous and juggernaut.
Okay, well, we're going to go out to this enormous audience. Now, if you have a question for any of the guys up there, then stick your hands up, and trained BBC staff in blue tops will come and pick some of you, and then you will be pointed in front of a microphone and speak to the guys up here in just a moment. So keep your hands up and have those conversations. While we up here, maybe look forward a little to the Christmas special, which, Marcus, I think is sort of is going to be your farewell, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm leaving with my doctor, yeah. It's a sad thing, but it's very exciting. We're definitely going out with a bang. We'll make an impact as we go.
And is there anything you can tell us about what we could look for?
When I'm sat this Coleman+Steven.
Utterly, as long as it's utterly enigmatic.
Yeah, that's too hard.
There's nothing I can say except that I highly recommend watching it.
Excellent, okay. Somehow think that we might all be doing that.
So like Northern Hype, I highly recommend watching it.
The lights are we ready for the questions? Yep, can we have the first one?
Secret. And I just told my family, and it was, I didn't go out or do anything sort of mad, because I hadn't achieved anything yet. I'd just been given this great big thing. But subsequently, I went and drank copious amounts of alcohol with friends to celebrate. Yeah. That's what I did when I finished.
I think I see a gentleman with a fez in front of the microphone there. Yeah, we have the question.
Hello. I'm Tyson.
Hi man, how's it going?
Good. And my question is for Matt, Jenna and Stephen. And it's, what's the saddest moment in filming?
Oh, good question. Coleman.
Saying goodbye to this one, which you'll all see at Christmas, and I'm not saying any more about it.
I think the very, very last shot that Matt did was my saddest moment. But because sadness must always be allied with ridicule, the last shot Matt did, his final moment of the Doctor, was hanging from a hook by part of a green screen. And because something wasn't working with the harness, having his trousers pulled down.
Wasn't very dignified.
So if that was specifically what you were into, by God, it was a treat. So it was. And I was thinking, he's hanging out there with the Doctor when he comes down to Earth and pulls his trousers up. He will no longer be the Doctor. But it was terribly sad, actually. And I got a bit emotional and made a speech, and it was all quite shaming. The last read-through was sad. The last read-through.
Yeah.
That moment was probably sad.
Just that whole journey on that last episode is quite a sort of, you know, that day where you regenerate, it's quite an odd feeling because you're all your friends that you've shared all these wonderful adventures with in your own life. Yeah, so I
Very
think,
weird atmosphere in the air
Yeah.
the whole day.
but the show must go on, that's why we're all here, because it keeps going, so, hey, there we go.
Marcus, I think we did your saddest moment as well.
I think it would be the same one as you, Matt, to let you know.
Yeah, we all sort of crumbled that day, didn't we?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Oh.
I think it's an extraordinary thing I keep wondering about. So I've worked on many shows, and some shows that I've created and seen through and finished. I've never worked on anything that I've got so emotional about, or the people around me have got so emotional.
No.
It's a powerhouse. People get emotional about Doctor Who have never even made it. We actually make it. Can you imagine the state we're in?
Have we got one in front of that mic there?